Hollywood mourning the loss of George Lucas's ex-wife, Marcia, a titan in her own right. Many didn't realize she was an editor and played some key roles in some of Spielberg and George Lucas's big films. Thinking of Star Wars, that final scene, that trench run, a lot of people not realizing that she had a heavy hand in that, especially after I believe the initial editor was kind of kicked off the
Fired.
movie because George Lucas wasn't a big fan. And then, of course, at the end of Raiders, she's the one that adds the touch of, hey, let's have like Indy and Marion on the steps again. So a long life, kind of a life that's been forgotten about by a lot of moviegoers, but those of us who nerd out about this stuff, a salute to Marcia Lucas.
She's one of the greats. I think she could have been one of the best of all time, honestly, if she continued to be an editor. She was nominated, I think, for Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, because she worked with Marty Scorsese, because she also was editor of Taxi Driver, for those who aren't aware of that. So she did win for Star Wars as best editor. And a lot of people say, Star Wars was saved by her in the editing booth and this and that. I think that's a little hyperbolic. I think she did make the film better. As you said, she did the Battle of Yavin and all that situation. She said, if people aren't clapping in the theater when Han Solo comes back and saves Luke, then you have failed in this movie. And that's exactly what happened, was his arousing success at the end of that scene. And as you rightly pointed out, with the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, where we have that button extra scene where they're on the steps, and say, hey, let's go get a drink and all that. She basically had said to Steven Spielberg, look, you can't have the end of Marion just be the island and then we never see her again.
We need that woman's touch in a way,
yeah,
right?
It kind of did.
You needed that different perspective. It's the chef's kiss.
You needed some emotional resolution. You needed some catharsis, I think, of Marion. And I think about what would the movie have been like without that little button scene, and I think that something would have been lost. 88 years, it's a life well lived. She had a heck of a career, and she will definitely be missed.